Good morning and happy Monday. Welcome to the Things We Like podcast with Andrew and Brooks. I'm Andrew. That's Brooks. Brooks, how are we doing today?
Awesome.
Dude,
real good.
You actually got sleep.
Yeah, what is that? What? That, I'm not really like used to hearing that word or experiencing that. But like, yeah, I actually went to bed. Funny enough, if you go to bed early, you wake up early. But yeah, I went to bed super early yesterday. I was just exhausted, but I feel pretty rested today. So
Yeah.
not bad.
Well,
not bad.
I just got back from a vacation yesterday. So that was fun. I went to the beach last week.
Very nice.
It was a good time. Went to the beach with my family and my two sisters and their families. So
Sweet.
all the cousins played together. It was fun. Good
Very
time.
cool.
It was a good time. I got this little strap-on bag.
That's cool. Those are good. I should probably get one too eventually.
Dude, I've started to hate carrying stuff in my pockets.
Yeah.
So I got this little bag to keep like my wallet and my phone, and I have like a little pen and a notebook just in case I need to write anything down.
That is very dad of you, but in the best way. You know what I mean? Like it's probably way more practical than pockets anyways.
Well, this way, when I go to the gym, I don't have to like keep stuff in my pockets, like my keys and things like that. I can put it in my bag, and I can just have my phone and my AirPods.
That's so smart, actually.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's nice. Or like when you're going to the beach and you want to have your phone with you, but you don't want to like get sand and stuff in it.
Yeah,
it's nice little practical thing to have.
I like that.
Speaking of pockets, and pocket monsters, Brooks, what are we talking about today?
Yu-Gi-Oh. Wait, no, Pokemon. Sorry.
Wait, crap.
No, sorry. We're talking about Magic the Gathering. Sorry, the Pocket Monster game. No, obviously talking about Pokemon today. I'm excited for this because I feel like we both have a lot to say about Pokemon. Just as far as
long history.
Yeah, we both do. I mean, I have 2 Pokemon tattoos. This one just says Greg and Unknown, and this is the grass energy symbol from the card game.
If I had tattoos, they would be of Pokemon.
Yeah, because Pokemon are awesome. I would love to get, I want Pokeball tattoos, like maybe like a quick ball or like a timer ball or something, like some of my favorite ones. Or I like the design of repeat balls and stuff like that. They're pretty cool too. So
yeah,
Pokeball designs are awesome. I wanted to get the
Ultra Ball. I always thought the Ultra Ball design was really cool.
Actually, I think my next Pokemon tattoo is going to be the Mega symbol, but colored in all the different, or the Mega Stone symbol or whatever.
Oh yeah, the lightning bolt thing.
Yeah, it's really
Mega
cool.
Evolution.
Yeah. I want to get it somewhere. I don't know where, but I'll get it eventually. Probably to fill this space here. Possibly. I don't know about getting tattooed on the bend of my arm because it's scary, but like, yeah.
No, that would be cool. But yeah, talking about Pokemon, I think we kind of have like a rough outline of how we want to do this. So let's like flip a coin and see who wants to go
just
first.
Because Pokemon is trash.
It's trash.
That's funny.
Trash.
All right. So I guess what we'll start talking about first is like our first memories and like childhood memories of Pokemon, because I have a ton. Andrew's got a ton. So heads or tails?
Tails.
Okay. Flip a coin. It's heads.
Heck yeah. Books.
Books.
Start us out, baby.
Okay. So my first real Pokemon memory was, or like the earliest I can remember, is Pokemon Sapphire. And I remember picking Trico for my first Pokemon and naming it, just all caps, Lizard. And so grass has been my favorite type ever since, because, you know, you got to represent. I'm always a grass starter guy. I always pick like Bulbasaur or Trico, or when the new games come out, I always picked Rowlet or Grookey. Monkey. So
how appropriate.
I know, right? And then how Pokemon affected me as a kid is really cool, because there used to be this daycare that I went to when I was really little, and they had like a summer program. They would keep kids over the summer and just give them something to do, give them like just a way to interact with other kids and like just to meet people and just to keep them like during the day so they wouldn't be bored if their parents had to work or whatever. And the lady that owned it is like a family friend of my parents. And she's been really nice to me my whole life. So love their family. But that's where I met Dylan. And we've been friends for like 20 years now, which is crazy. When I'm 28, it'll be 20 years. So it's only like a couple months.
You're both making a living off of content.
I know. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I know. 20 years later, how
primarily Pokemon stuff.
Yeah, how
for
a
him
game
too,
like that, a game like that will change your life so quickly. And I just remember going to that daycare, like summer type program thing. That was like essential to my childhood. I remember playing Fire Red and Leaf Green there. I remember seeing the commercials for Fire Red and Leaf Green and the wireless link cable thing. I remember that. I remember when that came out. I remember when Diamond and Pearl launched. I remember I would play Diamond. I would talk to Dylan on the phone for like 7 hours a day, just like this with the phone. That was before like Skype or Discord or anything. So like I would like really hurt my neck really bad, just like playing Pokemon on the phone, not saying anything and just playing and playing and playing. And
being like, oh, I found this. Oh, I found this cool thing. Or how do you get past this thing?
And going on vacation, like Dylan used to go on vacation with me, and we would go on vacation with each other, like to his grandparents' lake house, or we'd go with my parents to the beach, and we'd always play Pokemon everywhere we go, everywhere we took it. I took Pokemon everywhere when I was a kid.
Yep.
Anywhere that I could possibly. I went to school for like a costume thing, dressed as Ash one time. Let's see, what else did I do? The first content I ever really made on YouTube, some of the first content was Pokemon back like when I was 11. I remember recording Fire Red on my camcorder on my old computer desk. And I remember I found a legitimate shiny Articuno and I was filming it with a camcorder and I was like eating a Pop-Tart. And I was like, okay, so I'm getting... And I was like, oh my God, it's shiny. It was great. That video's lost to time, sadly, but I wish I still had it. I used to be like a serial deleter where I was like, yeah, I know. If I'm like, oh, that was cringe, I delete it. But it's worth keeping everything you do, even if it sucks.
Just for the memes, baby.
I know. So yeah, Pokemon that's a very TLDR version of that. But yeah, Pokemon is very important to me.
Chat, while we're talking about this, I would love for you guys to drop in like some of your Pokemon memories or kind of how you got started. So for me, I'm a little older than you, Brooks. So I started with Pokemon Blue. I got a Game Boy and Pokemon Blue combo. I got and I believe I got that and I think Link's Awakening. So like I started with two of my favorite games of all time.
That's a great way to start.
I know. So started with Pokemon Blue and I ran that DMG Game Boy like into the ground, bro. Like terrible lighting, bad. Like I had to like sit with a nightlight behind me to want like to see anything, and like my parents would get mad at me because there would be a light shining through my door and I'd be like trying to play Pokemon in the middle of the night. And, like not understanding, especially in the early days, like not understanding how any of it worked.
Oh yeah. And Gen 1 was jank too. So that
Gen 1 was super jank. Like you had no preconceived notion of like how anything worked back then too. So like, all right, it's super effective. Like it kind of like the type matchings, like I kind of understood, but then you start getting into like ground versus other, or fighting versus others, or dragon versus others. And I think dragon was like OP in Gen 1. Like it didn't have any type like resistance. It had every type resistance and nothing was super effective against it or something like that.
Like ice was the only thing, but
ice didn't exist in Gen 1.
Yeah, it did. Ice. Ice Beam, yeah.
No, I'm saying ice type Pokemon didn't really exist in Gen 1, I don't think.
Yeah, it was just like Articuno.
water types.
They were all secondary types. It wasn't like a pure ice. So there was like Lapras, there was Articuno, Cloyster.
You could get move sets that were that type, but there was no like.
It's like they were mainly water types with the secondary. That is correct.
That's more of what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
is like, there were
ice
weird.
There was always a secondary type, so it wasn't like a very prominent type. So that's correct.
And there were only like 3 ice moves in the game, I think, at that point too.
Blizzard
Which is
used
like
to have like a 90% accuracy too, which is insane.
And Ice Beam was like insanely OP.
Yeah. Freeze, like if you froze a Pokemon, you would just kill them unless they get the Frost with like a fire move, which I don't think. Maybe it works. There are people that know better than I do.
I don't even know if it worked in Gen 1. I think that was a later thing.
Yeah, I think freeze is just you're done.
Yeah, but like learning about all like the type matchings and like the weird stuff, like that nothing exists, and like being like, all right, I'm gonna get all of these gym badges, and then like, all right, so the posts. There was the first game I ever played with like technically like post game content because like you beat the Elite Four, and then you can just continue playing.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, that's insane to me as a kid. I'm like, oh, I can just like continue playing this game.
Yeah, and you gotta catch them all, dude.
And you gotta do all the catching. It's like, oh, that's so sick. So, and getting Mewtwo and Mew and all that kind of stuff was awesome. But yeah, no, that was kind of mine. My trajectory was blue, and then I got a Game Boy Color, and then silver. I remember that, and that's like my favorite game of like favorite Pokemon game of all time is the silver like Gen 2 era, because they did new stuff and they tried new things, and and then from then I kind of like just kind of kept with it, and I've always loved it since then. Gen 2 really solidified my love for it, but
it was such
Gen
a huge
1
improvement.
was I know. And then Gen 1 was the introduction for me, like blue.
That's amazing. I wish I had that, because like I did grow up around people who had like silver and stuff like that. So I experienced that a little bit when I was younger. And you would go to like those used game stores and get like blue and red. And I remember I had a used copy of red that had like a bunch of level 100s on it and stuff like that. And yellow, I still have them somewhere. Yeah, dude, I have so many good childhood memories of Pokemon. And now it led me here.
I was gonna say, let's read through some of everybody's like memories. So Novice, I distinctly remember my first shiny was a Geodude, and I didn't know what it was. My sister got mad at me afterwards because I didn't catch it.
Oh man, dude, I feel that all the shinies that I ran into just while playing the game. My first shiny ever was a Tentacool, I think, in Sapphire. I was going from, I think it was, is it Moss Deep City? I don't remember. It's where Tate and Liza are. You guys remember. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But it was like from Moss Deep to like Sutopolis, in between there. And it was like purple, and it had the green little orbs in its head. And I was like, what is that? Either that or a Zubat. I think it was Tentacool. Tentacool was my first shiny. And then
you were like, what's up with the color on this one? Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next shiny that I found was like, I found a shiny Shellos in, I think it was Diamond, and it doesn't look hardly any different. And then Articuno earlier, which doesn't look different. And then I found a Zubat one time. Either I found it or somebody else found it. I don't remember, but anyway, let's reading.
See. Yeah. Cloathan says, I started with the first Pokepark game, and then my first main series was Pokemon White. Great place to get into the Pokemon universe, honestly.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to how amazing Gen 5 is soon.
Great place to get into
Didn't get my first shiny until Gen 7. That's so sad. But it's literally the odds, man. It's crazy. Shiny odds are crazy. And then shiny hunting became a whole genre of content.
Yeah, I know. Which is wild. Insane. And then first got into through the show when it was Diamond and Pearl.
I remember
that's super interesting, because I played the game first, and then the show started happening at the same time.
That would be great. Like the Indigo League, like the original.
Yeah, OG. It was coming on WB on Saturday. It was a Saturday morning cartoon type deal, and WB 4Kids, whatever stuff. Like the same place where you would have like original dubs of One Piece.
Yeah.
And like Dragon Ball and stuff. And Yu-Gi-Oh! And Monster Hunter and all that kind of stuff. It was crazy. It was a weird time. It was a weird time when they were trying to pull all of this like Japanese anime stuff over to the West.
Yeah, because they knew Pokemon was huge. Like, I don't know if that
Pokemon
was what led to it,
up.
but like I'm sure it was a factor. He said Ghost said Alakazam was OP in Gen 1. Psychic types were...
Dude, psychic types were... Psychics and dragons were insanely OP in Gen 1 for no reason.
Psychic, it just had, I mean, Bug was its weakness, but there was like no good Bug moves. And,
you could only, you were lucky enough to get really like, if you stuck with it, because at the time you didn't know what all of the evolutions were, right? So by the time you get to really like the first time you start experiencing high level psychic Pokemon is like at the gym in Saffron.
Yeah.
So unless you stuck with a Weedle or a Caterpie and got a Beedrill or a Butterfree, like you didn't have, and I didn't even think then they didn't have a lot of bug type moves.
It was really bad.
There was very few of them.
And like ghost moves was just like Nightshade was like the only one, or like, and then there was like
there was
Lick, I guess. Lick was another ghost move.
That's poison. It's poison, I thought, in Gen 1.
Lick is, I think, let me see. Lick in Gen 1 is probably ghost.
I can't remember. For some reason, I thought it was poison in Gen 1.
Let's see. Gen 1, I think it is. Yeah. Stadium 2. Is that me? Yeah, it's a...
I'll continue while you're looking that up.
Yeah, you keep going. I'm curious too.
Ghost says freeze was in Gen 1 was permafreeze, which made it insanely OP. And the only way you could get rid of it was by going to a Pokemon Center.
This is weird. I think Lick was a Gen 2 move.
Really?
Because I don't see anything from Red, Blue, and Yellow.
I'm pretty sure it was on Gen 1, but maybe I'm wrong.
I could be wrong too. See, that's the thing about Pokemon 2 is there's so many little things that I can't remember, but I know about, but there's a million things that I still can't remember. All the weird Gen 1 jank. He said, Chloe said their first shiny was, I almost said Andrew, but Sandshrew in Oras, which is great. Good morning, Eli.
Was your first shiny, Chloe.
Freeze was permafreeze in Gen 1 until you went to a Pokemon Center, which is crazy. I remember getting Pokemon Gold at Toys R Us. I can vividly remember opening the box and the car in the parking lot.
So Eli, mine was Christmas. I had already had a Game Boy Color.
Wow.
But I was playing all of my Game Boy games on my Game Boy Color because I think my DMG had like just died at that point. And I distinctly remember getting Pokemon Silver for Christmas and sitting on my couch in my parents' house in like late middle school, early high school, and just freaking just not moving from the couch for hours.
I've had so many of those moments too with like, and even replaying those games later on. Like I remember one time I just booted up like a copy of Ruby and just sat in my room all day and just beat it in one session.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And let's see. Novice said Pokemon was really the only thing I played growing up. Wasn't big and branching out. The only game I played was Zelda, but never finished it. I was kind of the same way. I played a lot of Pokemon, and then I started to branch out into other things too later. But Pokemon was like the main one.
Pokemon and Zelda for me happened at the same time.
Yeah, game of the show happened at the same time.
Yeah, well, Pokemon for me was my handheld game of choice, and then Zelda for me was my console game of choice.
Oh yeah, and so Novice says I found Dawn to be the best performer out of Ash's companions. I agree. I think Dawn's my favorite too. I'll get into the anime and how I feel about that in a little bit. X and Y seem the most mature and experienced in that one. People don't understand how good Victor Bell was in Gen 1. Growth increases wrap damage.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so growth,
Insane.
You growth wrap back to back, dude, it's crazy, and
Rap,
they can't move.
Yeah, dude, rap is crazy. If you could outspeed them or like get Moltres or Charizard with like fire spin, like it's stupid. Stupid.
They can't get recalled in Gen 1 either. I don't know if that changes later on or not, but
also,
like you can't pull them back into the Pokeball when they're wrapped or bound.
I don't think you can. No, but like the special stat was all 1. That's why Psychic was broken, because special, like Mewtwo, Gen 1 Mewtwo is the most broken Pokemon of all time. It just has no counters. Like you could Toxic it or poison it and try to wither it away. I think Toxic's probably the best way to do it, because even if it recovers, the damage doubles over time. So eventually, it's gonna die.
Leech Seed in Gen 1 was freaking.
I love Leech. Leech Seed's one of my favorite moves.
Unnecessarily OP. Also, I wanted to say this. I am also a grass type.
I love grass.
Starter.
My favorite types are like grass, poison, steel, water, and normal. If I had to pick.
I love Gen 1. I kind of think about generations as like favorite typings in that generation. Grass, Gen 1. There's so many, like, especially when you're just like starting out, grass and electric, you can kind of like wrap your head around both of those.
Yeah.
But darkness was my Gen 2. Dark type was my Gen 2 type. It's so good.
Dark is crazy because like Dark didn't really get really, really good until the physical special split, because you had moves like Dark Pulse and you had Pokemon that could actually utilize it. Like Darkrai was insane as an Uber. Like, plus he had like that move that could like put him to sleep or whatever. It was like,
well, in Gen 2, there were only like a handful of Dark types.
Yeah,
Umbreon being like Tyranitar and Umbreon being like the main ones.
Umbreon is just a tank, dude. It's so annoying to take out, and Tyranitar was like an Uber staple for like just a competitive staple forever. Like, and it was really, really, I think probably Gen 3 competitive is my favorite, just to look back on, because it was equally jank as it was kind of fair in a way, because like it did
about
like
Gen 2,
Gen 3, like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Fire Red, Leaf Green, all that, because like it was like you didn't have the physical special split, but you also had like dark types, and you also had like moves like Pursuit were technically special because they were all so like a physical Pursuit on a Tyranitar would be awesome, right? But it just had special Pursuit, you know, which was annoying. But it's just funny.
So I when I was in Gen 3. I was obsessed with Sapphire. So I loved Sapphire. That was like awesome. And then I never played Fire Red or Leaf Green because in my mind, I was like, I've already played those games.
Right.
So I'm going to play Sapphire.
Yeah.
So I just totally missed that. So now I'm going back with these new emulators and I'm playing Leaf Green. And dude, I think it is the best way to introduce somebody to Pokemon.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Is Fire Red, Leaf Green. It is the best way to introduce somebody into the Pokemon world.
Yeah, it's like still a little jank, but it's also like so many quality of life fixes, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like the 100%. Game that isn't completely broken. Like there's so many broken mechanics in Gen 1, like for example.
The thing is, you don't know that they're broken.
Yeah, not until you grow up.
Well, until you start learning things like physical special split, which most average people aren't going to understand why that matters. You're not going to know catching percentages and that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or like or sleep percentages and how that's a little bit jank in Gen 3 still. And so I don't necessarily from a new person perspective, I don't necessarily think any of that really matters. But from a playability standpoint, it looks the best for how old it is, and it plays smooth, and it has save states and running and that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. I love that so much. Also, Ghost and I think Ghost was talking about how Electrode would beat Mewtwo because in Gen 1, the crit element was tied to your speed stat. So if you had a high speed stat, you'd get more crits.
Yeah, and Electrode was insanely fast.
Pretty much if it said like slash For example, if you have slash on a Persian, it will basically always crit because Persian's really fast and slash has a high crit chance. So, which it negates, like crits negate stat buffing, but it also is like a set damage or something like that. So I don't remember exactly. There's so many mechanics to it.
Yeah. Eli makes a really good point. No one can predict the way that players implement the rules in the game. And and Eli was saying he read a dude who devs for Magic the Gathering talking about how the players are actually a lot better at utilizing the rules than the actual developers are.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that. Because they
I feel like that's the same way for Pokemon. That's the same thing for Pokemon.
Because they're the ones that spend all the time like playing
they're too
and
close
testing.
to it.
And yeah, so like somebody could set up a rule, but then you get a bunch of people together who really understand it and are good at games. Like I remember this one kid,
especially rule exploitation, and that is what games like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon are all about.
And especially like I know I joked about it earlier, but like Yu-Gi-Oh was that way. Not to get sidetracked from this, but
no, I mean it's very similar, and like D&D is very similar in the same way too. Like a moveset can be exploited. You will find a way.
Right. So let's talk about the show a little bit. And I think I want to timestamp. This will be my first timestamp ever.
I went back and started. So me and Aaron my wife Aaron love watching the show so much. And we go back every couple of years, and we got like, it's one of our shows. We have like New Girl, Psych, are two shows that we watch constantly. Pokemon and Indigo League and Avatar: The Last Airbender are like the other two that we always watch.
I love that. Yeah.
We always go back and watch Pokemon. I wish there was, this is the one thing, and I'm going to say this now before we get too far into it. I wish there was a place where I could watch all of the Pokemon shows from front to back in one place. That place probably being Netflix, since they own the new Pokemon show. So like, I would love to watch Orange League, X and Y, Johto.
Oh yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Orange Islands, which is the second season of Gen 1.
Yeah, that's true. That's when they do all that. And they have their own separate badges and stuff. This will be my first timestamp, I think. So just for short purposes, I'm just going to come out and say it. So how I feel about the Pokemon anime, I think generally the Pokemon anime is dog ass. But
in what way?
But I think the Indigo League is classic. I think the new animation for the Sun and Moon looks amazing. Yeah. Everything else to me that I've seen sucks donkey balls. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And I know there's people that love it. I know that there are people that are attached to it. But it's just like, I
stopped caring about it after Johto.
I'll say this. This is going to sound really, really stupid from an adult standpoint, talking about a children's product.
Yeah.
I hated that they didn't take it seriously. I really hated that because later on, we would get something like Pokemon Origins that is mature and follows the story of Red and Blue. And they did it so well in like 13 parts. And it was like amazing. They did Silph incredibly well. They did like meeting Giovanni and fighting him there. They did it so well. They did the Pokemon Tower, like the meeting of the Marowak and the Cubone. Like they just did it so well. Pokemon Origins is amazing. And then the Pokemon Generations shorts that they have on the YouTube channel they're awesome. Like they're so good. Specifically the ones with like Team Aqua and Kyogre. Like that one is one of my favorites because it insinuates that Kyogre kills them.
Yeah.
Because it leaves it ambiguous and it's like, wow, that's what it would look like if it... And I think it's like almost too childish, which sounds silly.
Yeah.
But you think about shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender that took its audience seriously as a cartoon, and it's become timeless because adults and children can enjoy it. And I think the way that they viewed Pokemon was a dumb kids product, so who gives a shit?
Yeah,
because
there's an argument that that's kind of how they still view it, to be honest.
I agree. I think they do. And it really sucks because like I've seen newer clips of the show and like it's so cheesy, but not in a good way. It's like it's not good, you know? And I'm like, I think the reason that I feel the way I feel so strongly about it is because it has so much potential to be awesome. Because, you know, anime is awesome. You know, people of all ages can love anime, but it still takes its, like a lot of great anime takes its audience seriously, you know?
Well, and there's a little bit of difference there because anime is really geared towards like more serious audiences sometimes, and obviously that can be here or there. And anime as a style is more of a style, not a genre of show. But if we're talking about Pokemon specifically, like even if you know, first season Indigo League, right? Fantastic. Cap that off with the first movie, Pokemon first movie. Freaking banger, dude.
Dude, yeah.
Freaking stakes or high. Everyone was stressed.
And then you get that
people
quote
were
like,
borderline dying.
Ash does die, you know?
Yeah. For a
Ash
moment. Yeah.
dies. A child dies. But then they have lines like, I thought Vikings only lived in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's great. I mean, I think
that's pretty funny.
I think the Indigo League, that cheesiness, it works there because it has it's a product of the time. It's a charm. Yeah,
it
has a charm to it. But the fact that like you have later episodes that have like,
I would say Orange Islands.
Orange Islands is fun too.
Also good. Johto, really, really good.
I don't like Johto, Tracy, but
that's fine. But Johto has one of the best like intro sequence songs. Pokemon Johto.
Oh yeah, everybody wants to be a master.
Yeah, dude, freaking
like, that's
awesome.
Cool.
But after that, they started losing me, and that's kind of where I started growing out of Pokemon as well. Was that like Pokemon Johto like era of the anime?
Yeah,
it was also one of my favorite games, so I watched the heck out of that. But after that, it starts to lose me. I started not really caring about the side characters as much, and like I was like, all right, so we're doing the same thing again, over and over again, guys.
Yeah,
we're starting with nobody, and except for Pikachu, and then we're moving forward.
Oh, dude, the Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald era of the anime or the show was bad because it's like trainers. Which Pokemon evolves into Seviper? And I'm just like, these motherfuckers don't know what they're talking about, do they? They've never played the game. They don't know what a Pokemon is, you know. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I do like the openings because it's like, if you're strong, you survive, you'll keep the dream alive. It's the battle
they got some great openings. Even the new ones have great openings.
Yeah, like so those are catchy. Those warm my heart in a cheesy kind of like feel good way because they are cheesy, but you know they got a charm to them. But like,
and I will say they've come back around. Now, I think we talked about this before, but they've come back around now where I can fully understand kind of what they're going for and their age demographic, and that's fine because I have a kid, and so I can watch these new shows with him, namely the Pokemon Journeys Journeys, Master Journeys, and the other one that I can't remember that's like the final of Ash. Of Ash's like
journey. Where he actually becomes the champion?
Yeah, like Ultra Journeys or something like that. I don't remember. But it was something like that. And then but we watched that. He loves it. It gets him interested in it. He's down to play Pokemon or watch me play Pokemon as a 3-year-old.
That's good.
And like he's got a Pokemon, like a Pikachu stuffed animal and stuff. And so like that's his thing. I'm very much kind of the target demographic from a nostalgia play, but I'm not the current target demographic.
That's
Neither
true.
are you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the one thing I do have to keep in mind is that it is because I'll read people like reviewing Pokemon games and being like, this is garbage. And they're like, people are getting mad at a children's product. I'm like,
there's a balance of like, hey, we need to like get
Yeah.
back into some realism here.
it's wild
To a
because like children's products used to be comic books. Look what that turned into. You know,
Yeah.
like people used to think comic books were the devil. And then we got shows like the original Batman the Animated Series is one of the greatest shows. It's one of the greatest animated shows of all time. And that's a
Batman Beyond as a
Batman
non-canon
Beyond
spinoff
is awesome.
Yeah.
As a spinoff too. And like that's a children's product. And we get Batman we get the Arkham games. You know, that's originally a children's thing, you know.
Kind of.
Yeah. Sort of kind of, but like comic books were written, you know, kids grew up reading them, but also they could affect adults. And that's, I think, the best art and the best media can be enjoyed by people of all ages. That's why I think, again, like Avatar The Last Airbender is like the gold standard for if you're going to make a type of media. Because, I mean, it was like, if you see Avatar stuff with a blind eye, it's because like, oh, that's a kid's show. Like, why would I watch a kid's show? Then you watch it and you become so emotionally invested in everything that's going on. You know, you start like
tear up at everything,
your heart
and you hear
breaks for
leaves
every
from the
character
vine.
ever, and you're like, oh my God, like this is amazing art, you know? So I feel like, well, yeah, it is targeted towards kids. I know that, like my brain knows that. But like
you can do it in such a way that makes it
I just feel like
accessible.
Their lack of effort, and that'll lead us into like a later topic, but the lack of effort kills me because it could be something consistently great, but they choose mediocrity because it doesn't matter. It will still sell because it is. Yeah. Eli even said, and he's right, it's the biggest IP in the world. Like Pokemon is the most popular and the largest IP in the world. And he made a good point. He's like, why don't they have their own streaming service? And I'm like,
I would pay for that.
A lot of people would, you know, a lot of people would watch the Indigo League over and over and over and over and over again. And then people would watch their favorite generations. You know?
Well, and then you could also they have a Pokemon. Now, I think they're getting a lot of funding through Netflix, so that's probably why they don't do that. Because they have Pokemon Concierge, which I don't know. Have you seen that? Look it up. It's freaking cool, man. Pokemon Concierge is a Netflix original show that...
I'm not familiar with this, actually.
Watch the trailer.
Okay.
You can just watch the trailer. It's a animated show, but it's based in like, they're like, what's it called? Where you have
stop motion.
It's stop motion, but it's all the Pokemon are like fluffy.
Oh, I want to. Okay, so I want
just watch the trailer. Yeah,
I want to make a timestamp because I want to pull this because I want to share that. Let's see, 37. I just did 38 actually. Okay.
Pokemon and ensure they enjoy.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to start working here today. My name is Haru.
Look how freaking cute this is, dude.
Welcome to the play.
This is cool.
Our job is to take care of these Pokemon and ensure they enjoy the resort. In other words, you'll be the Pokemon concierge.
The Pokemon Resort.
Thank you.
I can't believe I'm actually
Times 3.
here.
Not bad.
It's a freaking
It's the first time.
so
I
chill.
felt so relaxed.
Oh crap! I might get copywritten. Oops.
It's a freaking chill time, dude. Look at those whoopers.
That's good. This is nice. This is really pleasant, actually.
Yeah,
Oops.
and it's like it's a good.
Oh hell no!
It's a good.
Enjoy
It's
the
a good.
resort. In other
Sorry,
words,
I did not.
you'll
I
be
don't
the
want anything Disney on here because they're just like.
Yeah.
It's like, huh? I'm just like, you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
You better not be watching my shit.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks super cute. It's a very relaxing little show. I've only watched a little bit of the first episode.
I
but
like the Magikarp. Now this is something I could get into. Just as something like it's something pleasant to see.
Yeah.
This is cute. This is pleasant. That looks really, really nice.
Yeah, dude. It's awesome.
Okay. That face says it all.
Monkey.
I got to take a picture of that. I got to have that.
Yeah. So would highly recommend you guys check this out and let me know if it's any good, because I'm probably going to also watch it.
Yeah.
But
let me know. I would like to check it out, honestly. It looks really cute.
yeah.
Oh, dude, Maria Takeuchi is singing this? She's the girl that wrote Plastic Love, or sang on
that's
Plastic
sick.
Love. So let me listen again.
Welcome to the place.
Our job is to take care of these Pokemon.
That's good. Oh, that's amazing. Hold on, I gotta look this up.
But yeah, it's one of the side shows
Had a
that they're
good
doing
time
on
here.
Pokemon
I'm gonna look at this.
that
Add it to my
I'm
playlist.
very excited for. And if they keep doing stuff like this, dude, like, I'm down. Making these cute little shows
Yeah.
that are
That's
just like kind of these
amazing.
relaxing, casual watches. Like, I'm in.
Yeah, Maria Takeuchi. That's amazing. She did, and Plastic Love. Like, hold on. I'm not gonna play it because it will get copywritten. This is like the city pop anthem.
Yeah.
So like that is brilliant. I love that. I love
And-
that so much. I'm
yeah,
adding this
dude.
to my album.
Pokemon knows their demographic as far as that stuff goes. Getting the legend.
That's amazing. I had no idea. Like, I didn't immediately hear it in her voice, but then when you said her name, it's like I can't unhear the voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've listened to a lot of her music, and she's very, very good.
And the term I was thinking of is they're all the Pokemon are like felt. They're like felt.
Yeah, they're like.
Yeah, they're made out of like felt beings.
I love stop motion anything. So that's amazing. I love that. Okay, now I have to watch it.
Eli was asking, are there serious mature like non-sexual mature Pokemon fanfics or fan series that are actually good? And I think you were talking about a couple of them.
I recommend Pokemon. So I'll show you. So it's Pokemon Origins. Pokemon Origins. Like the Japanese dub says "damn" in it, I believe. So we'll watch some of it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I haven't seen any of
Let's
this
watch
before.
the trailer at least. Let's just do Pokemon Origins trailer.
Dude, insanely
This
nostalgic.
is my favorite.
Intro.
Well, my favorite show
To those
media.
who played the very first Pokemon games.
It's basically a recreation of Red and Blue, the story of Red and Blue. But they take it very seriously, and it's really good.
But and this is official, right?
Yeah, that's my favorite. This is the Pokemon. It's on the official channel, so this is my favorite Pokemon media in this
Pokemon
form.
Red version
I guess
and
I don't know how to say
Pokemon
that.
Blue version, where it began, will be retold in 4 brand new
Oh, it's 4 episodes. I thought it was 13.
What
It's so good. And then they
are there
introduce.
any like non Pokemon like specific versions of that? Like, is evolutions specific or?
I wouldn't know. All I know is that Generations and Pokemon Origins is amazing. It's literally 4 episodes. It's my favorite Pokemon series. This is how, honestly, in my opinion, this is the best version of the Pokemon show at its purest form. Now there are
I
spin-offs.
will say, Pokemon Adventures, the manga.
Oh yeah, of course.
I have heard is how they wanted the original. It's basically Pokemon Origins, but like better.
Yeah, because Pokemon die and it's gory. Like the manga is good.
Yeah.
The Pokemon
Yeah, the
manga,
manga's-
from what I've seen and the little that I've experienced of it, it's very good.
Yeah. Pokemon Adventures is like very cool. The manga, and it's like it's how It's the story that I think they wanted to tell in the show that they just couldn't because of their demographic that they were going after.
That's true. Yeah, it is true because like Pokemon straight up like Arbok. I remember there's something where an Arbok just gets sliced in half.
Yeah.
Like,
Somebody uses cut or something and slices an Arbok in half.
Manga deaths. Yeah, Arbok. Like Arbok straight up dies.
And the drawing is just beautiful. Like, golly, dude. The art style for this Pokemon manga is freaking amazing.
I want to see if I could find a specific panel where a Pokemon just straight up bites it. Like, what the hell is this? Like, is this a Poliwhirl getting impaled?
Yes.
Jesus. This is up my alley, honestly. So I would need to read the Pokemon manga. I really need to read that.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
This Pokemon straight up dying. Look at this.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, good God.
Yeah, dude. The manga's wild.
Yeah, I appreciate the manga for that alone. It's just having balls, you know?
So yeah, check out the Pokemon Adventures manga if that's something you're interested in.
Yep. So let's, this is 46 minutes. Let's talk about,
where did you fall off of Pokemon,
yeah,
Brooks?
let's talk about that because I think you and I have both had a falling off point with Pokemon.
And then a resurgence.
I will say that I still, in my free time sometimes, I'll go online to like a team builder and I'll build teams and I'll play Pokemon. I'll play Gens 1 through 5 just on repeat because I love them so much. I think they're amazing. Gen 6, I enjoyed Gen 6, but that is the first time where it really started to feel like there was a shift in quality. Dylan and I were at the midnight release of Pokemon, X and Y and Sun and Moon. Like we still were there for that because we both did that. And then I really like Gen 6 and 7. Like there's a lot of things I like about both of those because I think the Pokemon that were introduced are really, really cool. Fairy type changed the game.
Yeah.
I think that what is it?
You started getting getting like regional variants.
Yeah, and like Alolan Muck is one of my favorite Pokemon. We need to do a top 10 favorite Pokemon stream too. That would be awesome because I really need to think hard about mine. But Alolan Muck, I love poison types. Alolan Muck it was so good when it came out. It's poison dark and knockoff was buffed. And then like I think in Gen 7 Steel stopped resisting dark, so that made it even better. So like there were a lot of cool shit. I think where I really fell off was like Gen 8. Because I hate Gen 8. I'm just gonna be real. I hate it.
Sword and Shield.
I think they're just really fucking boring. Like, and I played through those games multiple times. Like, I remember when the game came out, I played it. Shout out to Vinny. I played it for Vinny so he could have a caught up copy, and I streamed that. It's still on my channel where I played it. Love Ball Guy though. Ball Guy is rad. But that's just me. Ball Guy is amazing, but everything else is like. I just hate the pacing of newer Pokemon games. And that is the thing that just kills me. It's like, why can I not skip the cutscenes? Why? Because it was so better. Like when it's 2D or 2.5D, like even Gen 6 and 7, they drag. But like when it's in Gen 8 and you're just like, God dang. And you're just like, just go, like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, just you can experience the story if you want to, but just not adding any sort of like skips or any sort of like, just let me skip the cutscenes.
Yeah.
Because like, for me, I want to play my favorite thing about Pokemon game are team building. I love building a team. I love seeing how it works. I love having my team of 6 and going through the game and whooping the game's ass. Like that's what I love. And I love the customization, the replayability of the Pokemon game. Even older games, I can go back and somehow, some way find Pokemon that I've never used before and find ways to use them because it's fun. I can build a team and do what I want to, and it's awesome. But like Gen 6, I loved Megas are awesome. Megas are amazing. Fairy type is amazing. Changing your trainer's outfit is something I'm really into because I love aesthetics and stuff like that in the games. Gen 6 wasn't perfect. It was cool though. It was cool. Gen 7, I gotta be real, I gotta play Gen 7 again to get like a full idea. I think the Mega Necrozma battle sucks.
Sun and Moon?
And then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So you've got 2 games to play through.
Got it.
The Ultra Necrozma battle's dog shit. But
so for me, I played through the first 3 gens. Gen 4 is where I started to fall off. And it has actually more to do, less to do with me not caring, and more to do with the fact that, as we discussed, I never had a DS or a 3DS.
Yeah, that's crazy. When he first told me that, I was like, no way. Because I was like...
well, you got to understand, whenever the DS came out was whenever I was going into like late high school, college.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, though.
I stopped caring. So I knew about Gen 4. And this is the other thing. It's like I paid attention, so I kind of knew what was going on, but I never played a lot of the games. So I missed 4 through 7.
Yeah.
As far as like playing the games, I missed Gen 4 through 7. So I came back at Gen 8.
Yeah.
And which is a weird time to come back anyway. I enjoyed Gen 8. I understand especially from somebody like you who has played like everything leading up to it. I can understand why you don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily love it.
Yeah.
But for me, it was the thing that we'll always kind of have a little bit of nostalgia for is the fact that it was like the first console game, first mainline Pokemon game that was a console game.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal.
Yeah. And for more context, I was the one that I grew up with like Coliseum and Gale of Darkness. And those games are awesome. Like
they're awesome. Those are freaking, I love those. Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Coliseum. Those are great, but they weren't mainline part of the Pokemon
That's true.
games.
They were spinoffs for sure.
Yep. So the fact that these were the first mainline Pokemon game that were on a console was the thing that I was like, all right, cool. Let's get back into Pokemon like heavy. And me and Aaron both got back into, I think we got Sword. So we got super into Gen 8. We thought some of the characters were weird, but we liked a lot of the new Pokemon that were in it.
Oh yeah. That's one thing that is consistent about any new Pokemon game is the Pokemon are always cool. Like for me, like a Rillaboom, a drum gorilla, like get out of here.
Let's freaking go.
You know,
let's
like
go.
Come on, you know, Toxtricity is like that one's up there for me because it's a guitar and bass Pokemon and it's very musically inspired and like that is so cool. The Pokemon are always cool, you know. Even Gen 9, like Gen 9, I don't really love Scarlet and Violet. Because we've talked about them before. Those games are it's unacceptable how those games came out.
Yeah, 100%.
Like the state that those games came out in is unacceptable for how big of an IP that is, I think. And we both agree on that, I believe.
Yeah.
So, Obstagoon. Eli's right about Obstagoon. Like Obstagoon's cool. It's like, it's basically like Gene Simmons essentially, or like a Kiss, a member of Kiss. It's very musically
100%.
inspired. Gen 8 has a lot of cool music homage.
They had a music. They had the music guy that was the gym leader too. So like they really leaned into it.
Music was a big inspiration for the Pokemon,
which is sick. I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
I think there was some like wild area stuff that they could have done slightly better. I think there was some. I did love that like that was the first time you could run away from Pokemon in the wild zones.
Yeah. Pokemon.
So like
oh,
that
sorry.
was a very interesting like update. As far as the Gen 8 has the first dark gym. I believe the music guy was the dark gym in Gen 8.
I think I literally played it so many times I couldn't tell you.
I can't think of another. I can't think of it. Well, I think it was the first one. Was he the first one? Was there another gym leader that used dark type?
A gym leader that used dark type?
Yeah.
Gym leader
Before Gen 8?
Gym leader that used dark.
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I don't know if I know Elite Four members did.
Yeah, but not gym leaders.
But I don't know of a gym leader that did, unless I'm just
that's
totally
crazy.
blanking.
And that's wild that they waited until Gen 8 to have the first dark type gym leader.
Piers. Let me see.
Yeah, Piers is the guy.
Piers. Not Piers Morgan. Damn it.
Pokemon.
Yeah. So let me talk about the dark type. And he just said something really controversial about him.
Yep. But yeah,
Piers is the dark type. Okay, yeah.
Piers is the guy from Gen 8, yeah.
Okay.
Because he's homegirl's brother.
Yeah, that Marnie. I did like Marnie as a character. I thought she was really cool.
Yeah. Great side character. So yeah, I don't know.
Type.
I think there's some cool stuff.
There's Nanu, but Gen 7 didn't really have gyms per se.
Yeah.
So that was Gen 5. So that is yes and no. So yeah, Nanu is a dark type user, but that's like a kind of a gray area.
Yeah. I don't think that's technically a gym leader.
No, because Sun and Moon had a different
system, right?
Yeah, because it was more based on challenges rather than like gym leaders. It's kind of a yes and no. So
Piers was one of the coolest parts of Gen 8, to be honest.
Yeah, because I remember like Grimsley and Karen like being, but they're in the Elite Four, right?
Yeah.
And then Marnie is like your Elite Four in Sword and Shield, and then Sydney is from Gen 3 is in the Elite Four. So like, I think you're right. Like Piers was by definition the only real
dark gym leader.
Gym leader, yeah, that would have to make a lot of sense. But yeah, I think Legends Arceus is like the next step into.
So that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
as cool as Gen 8 was, Legend Arceus, I was obsessed with.
It's a way
when
better
that game came out. Oh my god!
It's a way better game.
It's better than the Gen 9 game.
I think so.
So good.
It's
on
cool
so many
because
levels.
It's like a little more violent because you actually have to like dodge the Pokemon. And you do like those challenges, but the game is actually, from my experience, the game's tough. Like the game's challenging.
Hard. It's fluid.
Because,
it's like genuinely fluid.
You've got like attack style and swift style, or like power style and swift style, so you can go faster. I really don't even understand those still, to be honest.
I think one is like a speed boost, so you can attack first, or power is like you attack slower, but you hit harder.
That's what I think. That's what I felt it was, but I always felt like I got outsped either way. So maybe I just sucked.
Or maybe you were just using slow Pokemon or a slow move.
Possibly. But that game is really good. I love the open worldness that you got. You kind of have freedom to kind of go anywhere. Yep. The new Pokemon again that were introduced. I love the evolution of Quillfish. It's Overquill. Mm-hmm. I love Poison and Dark. I believe it is.
Well, and like having the variants. You had a couple variants in that as well.
Like Hisuian Pokemon are cool. Like they're just really cool. They're ancient Pokemon.
Having the shinies, different shinies in there as well. Those were really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I thought that game was, because you had everything. You could also catch all of the starters from like the first 3 or 4 gens, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. I don't know, man.
It was
I
a
love
good
that
change of
game
pace.
so much.
It was awesome. And then like it was cool
And
because if you were smart enough and you knew how to play the games and you were like you could actually I would grind up my Pokemon against like the bigger what were the Pokemon with like the red eyes? There's a name for them.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called, but yeah.
It's like they were like people in the chat know. They'll know what it's called. But I would go fight like a Parasect early game.
Sure.
Because like, you know, you could one shot it with like a fire type or something.
Yeah.
Even if it's like 10 levels higher,
And
get a
just
bunch of
grind.
experience. Yeah. I love grinding in games. I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
Like I love sitting and just grinding and just letting the time go by.
Yeah,
It's just so
for sure.
relaxing for me and I enjoy that. That's why I like RPGs. Because RPGs I can waste so much time grinding.
Yeah.
And then I grind and then I put it down. The next time I play it, I just whoop the game's ass. I love it.
Yeah. I love it. And it's like Eli says it suffers from the same problem as all open worlds, which is like the fetch syndrome.
Yeah.
Which I would actually argue that's just a thing in all Pokemon games. That's just kind of a built-in thing of every Pokemon game is like, in order to do a thing, you're going to have to go find and do all of this other random crap in order to get to like the gym leader or defeat this person or whatever.
Because you got to get an HM or you got to get a certain thing or something's got to happen or
you got to go defeat Team Rocket in this area before it can trigger this person moving and you going over here. And I don't disagree, but also I kind of think that's like a built-in. I think that's a feature, not a bug necessarily.
Yeah, I understand that.
Of the thing. Like it was the first time I had played an open world game. Everybody had been waiting on open world Pokemon game.
Yeah, because it makes the most
for
sense.
a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was super stoked. And it did the thing very well where it's like more zone based. So it's like a little bit of a blend between what we ended up getting in Gen 9 and what we had in Gen 8. You know? So it was a little more of like a zone based blend, but it still felt a lot bigger than Gen 8.
Yeah. I will say one last thing I want to say before we end the podcast is I genuinely believe that we'll never get a Pokemon game with as much effort put into it as Black and White 2.
I agree.
Because Gen 5...
I'm really hoping that A to Z is going to make you disagree with that. Because it seems like they're trying really hard on that game.
I'd love to be wrong about that. I want this to age like wine or like cheese or like chocolate milk in the sun.
Yeah.
Chocolate milk in the desert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want it to age poorly. Because Gen 5 was so ambitious and so creative and then all the extra stuff they added in Black and White 2, it's unreal the amount of content that they put in. Like at that point they had mastered the DS as a console. Because they started with Diamond and Pearl and Diamond and Pearl wasn't perfect. And I think
there was a lot of problems with that one.
Yeah, because it was just very slow and clunky, but they perfected that game with Platinum, and then Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, which they still weren't perfect. But they were huge improvements. And like they had the system where Pokemon followed you, and all the Pokemon in the game followed you. There were sprites for all of them. And then by Gen 5 and it was just Gen 5 with Black and White and Black and White 2. The story was the best.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite Pokemon come from that generation. They're some of the most, it's weird to say, but some of the most mature Pokemon designs come from Gen 5. Like Hydreigon, that's fucking badass. It's the one thing I will say about Gen 5, a lot of the level up evolutions are too high. Like Hydreigon, you get at level 65. And I'm like, what?
Oh, dang.
Like, Dino evolves into like Zweil. Something starts with a Z. I don't know how to pronounce it. But then it evolves into Hydreigon at level 65. And by the time you're done with the game, it's the highest of any Pokemon, I think.
That's crazy.
And then so many Pokemon evolve late in that game, and by the time you evolve them, it's like, okay, game's done.
I think they're probably prioritizing grinding in that game.
That and like the post game possibly, but like I don't know. I just that's the only thing. That is the only thing I hate. Oh, Volcarona. Volcarona is 70. I think it doesn't it evolve at level 70. Yeah, Larvesta evolves at like level. I think it does. I think.
That's crazy.
Larvesta.
That's insane. That's end game stuff.
Larvesta evolves. How does it evolve?
That's insanely late though, for sure. Like I don't
Does it say. Oh, 59. Oh,
59 is still 59. Really high.
Yeah. And that's a single. That's like a single evolution.
Anything past that's crazy.
Yeah, so Larvesta's
single evolution at 59 is nuts.
Yeah, but
anything past 40 is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, you got some really, really awesome Pokemon. Excadrill. Eli mentioned Excadrill. Excadrill was so good it was like banned in competitive because it was like
really
it was ground steel. It had Sandstream, which also like Sandstream boosts your speed in Sandstorm, but Sandstorm also gives like a special defense buff or something to Pokemon in or like to rock types and ground types or something. I don't remember, but it buffed it like crazy. And also Gen 5 was like the weather generation. That's when you saw most of your best rain teams and like rain was just fucked in Gen 5 how good it was. From all the videos that I've seen, I watch. Shout out to False Wipe Gaming. If you want to get into the history of competitive Pokemon, they have been making awesome videos for years about it. That's where I learn all my stuff, and I have a bunch of knowledge in my brain about it, but I can't remember it and I can't apply it because I've actually played a competitive. It was me, Dylan, and our friend Matthew. We went to the Athens regionals and we competed. I got my ass whooped.
Well, I was gonna say maybe this is like competitive Pokemon. This is a good place to land the plane. Yeah. Competitive Pokemon, I have never understood or do not understand at all competitive Pokemon.
It's fucked.
Like I don't understand like, and maybe you can explain it to me, but I don't understand like what are like obviously the rules change all the time, but like what are the rules? I don't understand like how it happens. Like is it just like 1v1 or best of 3? Is it
so there are singles and doubles, and Pokemon work differently in singles than they do in doubles. Some Pokemon are better in singles than there are doubles. Okay. It just there's strategies for singles and doubles. There are
because you got to understand, I am Unga Bunga.
Me too.
Fight, tackle, attack, fight. You know what I mean?
Some of the strategies, like there was a famous Pachirisu, which Pachirisu is not that great, but Seijin Park, I believe, was a player that used Pachirisu to win like a national or something like that, or he won like a huge tournament with Pachirisu on his team. And that just goes to show that like I don't remember exactly what that was, but it was a famous Pachirisu. Like Pachirisu on paper is not that good, but he somehow managed to use it on his team. Just the way that like they build teams and that they use them and that these people know Pokemon inside and out. Like Wolfie Glick is also like, he makes content on it now. Just him explaining the game and like competitive is like, oh, it'll destroy your brain. I've tried it and it's hard because the thing is you have to build your Pokemon legitimately. So you have to raise their IVs, which are their independent values, or they get certain independent values based on when they're either when they're caught or when you breed them. You could breed perfect IVs through certain methods, and then you have EVs. So for example, if you kill like let's say I defeated a Spearow in the wild because I did that for Sun and Moon. Spearow gives you like an extra attack EV. When you so it's not necessarily from experience. It's like you kill like if you kill like a Chansey, you get HP EVs, and you can raise the EVs and build Pokemon. You can build them bulky. You could build them like fast. You could build them.
The amount of time spent doing those is insane.
Oh, I would never do it again. I hated it. It took forever, and it literally took me days to build a team just to go and get my ass whooped, and like it was horrible. Like, and the worst part in my experience, they weren't even nice to me. Like, I tried to be friend, like Dylan and Matthew, I remember got these like friendly dudes who were like, oh, here's what you could do better if you try this and try that and try that. And they were like, oh yeah, thanks. And I was like, I went to the guy that I played. I was like, hey man, what's up? And he's just like,
Big grump.
like maybe they struggled socially, which is fine. I do too in a lot of ways. But like, I didn't feel welcome.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'll never do it
insane.
again. Competitive Pokemon, it's great. It's a great spectator sport, but I would never participate in it ever again. It just takes a specific type of person.
Cheers to all of you that do, because it is not for me.
So much respect for them, but I can't do it, and I won't do it again. So
Yeah.
any
no, for sure.
final thoughts?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm excited for this new Pokemon game.
Me too.
And I'm excited for the new Switch announcement, which just means that the new Switch announcement that's supposedly going to happen in June, which just means that the next Pokemon game is going to be on the new console, which means a lot of hopeful upgrades and things like that we're going to get for the new console. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm hoping they don't pull another Scarlet Violet and ship out a half-baked game.
If they don't learn from that, dude, the sad thing is it'll still sell. No matter what. Yeah, but it's just like, at least
It's just sad.
yeah.
It's like look what they did to my boy.
Yeah, look what they massacred my boy.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I know
It
how
just
you
makes me
feel.
very sad.
Pokemon is very special to all of us, and it's just like it sucks when people just kind of half-ass it.
Yeah. Let's go through real quick and see if there's anything that we missed in chat. I don't believe there is.
You should earn.
I think we got everything.
You should have earned his respect by urinating on his cartridge. I just freaking assert dominance. I'm like, give me your DS, and I shit on it. And then I give it back to him, and I like close the DS on it, and I'm just like, here, and I walk away. That's gross. Sorry.
Novice. Also, because Pokemon was my primary game, most of my childhood TV crushes were Pokemon trainers: Gary, Silver, Faulkner, Steven, etc.
I remember when
Novice. I agree.
I remember when I was a kid, I was like,
Misty is a babe.
yeah, when I was a kid, I was like, dude, Dawn is so cute.
I know.
Like that is like,
oh god,
you know what I mean? Like when you're a kid, those are such innocent times too.
I had such a crush on like all of those trainers and gym leaders and stuff, and I was like,
yeah, dude, the gym leaders especially. Like I remember the grass gym leader Erica being really sweet, and I was like, oh my god, she'd probably be really nice. Like, you know what I mean? Like those kid crushes are so innocent and nice.
I know, man.
I love it, but it does open from the same. Go fetch. I see. That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Despite the name CA or whatever, just call it Pokemon Z, you fools. Yeah. That's so funny. 59 for first stage is crazy. Bro, Excadrill is Drillium. He's a staple on my team. That's so... Oh my god, that's amazing.
Drillium.
Competitive is an entirely different game, it feels like. Oh yeah, it's wild.
It really does feel like a totally different game.
Tristan just said that's a crap sandwich to the DS thing. Yeah, we'll give him one.
Oh,
yeah, I should have asserted my dominance on that poor guy.
Amazing.
Every mon has a designated stat. Defeated raises mon by one stat. Yeah, that's how EVs work, basically. Trust me, people understand better than me. That was basically like the Unga Bunga tutorial, because you know how my brain works.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but that's all I got for today, and I love Pokemon. That's the reason that I'm in this chair talking to you right now. So,
thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Things We Like podcast. Hey, if you liked listening to us or maybe watching us, go check it out, the VOD on at Things We Like Pod on YouTube. Hey, if you hate looking at our faces and you just want to listen, I totally understand. So we have the audio versions on all of the audio podcasting platforms. We're very excited to be streaming on Brooks's channel for now, and we're very excited. But subscribe to the Things We Like Pod channel also, because eventually we will be moving over to there. We have some very exciting stuff planned. Drop your favorite Pokemon in the comments of this video. Just do that. Brooks, send us out.
Remember, you can always turn your frying pan into a drying pan.